Good afternoon. I don't know if I need that or not. Okay, I can do that. So good afternoon and thank you for joining us at Cuivre River Electric's 83rd annual meeting. If you would, please stand and join us in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If you want to be seated. My name is Diane Solly, and I am president of your Cooperatives Board of Directors. It's my honor and privilege to be here today serving in that capacity. We want to welcome you and thank you for joining us today. I've been notified that a quorum of members has been established, and I now declare the meeting open for all business that may be presented today. Okay. The first item on the agenda is the proof of mailing of the annual meeting notice, which will be presented by our Vice President, Jeff Geisendorfer. There you are.
Yep. I stayed close. Good afternoon. And if anybody would be keeping tally, Mr. Ted House is our Secretary-Treasurer. He happens to be traveling abroad today, so I'm filling in. So I do have in my possession our postal form 3541 from the Liberty, Missouri Post Office that on July 18th, 2025, 60,617 copies of the rural Missouri Cuivre River Electric's official publication were mailed, satisfying our bylaw notification of date, time, and place of this August 28th annual meeting of membership. Diane.
Thanks, Jeff. At this time, I would like to introduce your cooperative's current board of directors by county and district. The directors from Lincoln County, or District 1, Mike Cherry, District 2, Jeff Geisendorfer, and District 3, John Waddell. The directors from St. Charles County are District 1, Mark Schulte, District 2, myself, Diane Solly, District 3, Tim Welker, District 4, Karen Barra, and District 5, Ted House. The directors from Warren County are District 1, Dan Elliott, District 2, Paul Ruby, and District 3, Phil Dunk. And the director from Pike County is Walt Gregory. Very good. Thank you all very much for serving. I'd like to take a moment to recognize and thank outgoing director Dan Elliott for his years of dedicated service, not only to Cuivre River Board, but to the Roundup Board. We'll miss you and your insights, both serious and humorous, and your common sense approach to addressing governance responsibilities of the cooperative. So thank you, Dan.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
At this time, I'd like to thank the nominating committee for their time preparing for today and serving as election officials. So we have from Lincoln County, Carrie Klump, Brian Edwards, St. Charles County, Wendell Massman, and Dave Leshy. From Warren County, Gary Carter and Paul Hegman. And Pike County, Mark Harvey and Scott Clucky. Very good. Thanks, guys, for all your help. Now I'd like Sean Battagler, our attending attorney, to step up to the podium to conduct a very important part of our meeting, the election of our board of directors. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you. Good evening. So at this time, I'll conduct the in-person portion of the director election. First by reading the slate of candidates, and then I'll give a moment for anyone who has not cast ballots to cast their ballots. And if you'd like to move that way, if you haven't cast your ballot, go ahead and do that, because immediately after reading the slate, we will then retire to a room back here to finish the counting. So from Pike County, Walt Gregory and Lori Smith. From Warren County, District 1, Jeff Culbertson and Lisa Key. Lincoln County, District 2, David Rothweiler, Mike Johnson, and Jeff Geisendorfer. St. Charles, District 2, Tyler Mortz, Cammie Henderson, Joe Rapone, Diane Solly, Jeffrey Manning, and D. Kevin Martin. That is your slate of candidates. And again, if you have not had an opportunity to vote, please do that. I'm not seeing anyone moving that way. We'll give it just a minute here while everyone stares up at me. I think we're fine. With that, I will, if there's no objection, declare the balloting closed. Hearing no objection, we can go count the remaining ballots.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the approval of the 2024 annual meeting minutes. A copy of the minutes was printed on the website and in your handout today. Are there any corrections or additions to be made? If not, do I have a motion? And do I have a second? I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. All in favor, vote by saying yes. Yes. Any opposed, no. Okay, motion passes and the minutes will stand approved as written. This brings us to the presentation of the financial report. Again, a copy of the audited financial report was posted on the website and is printed in your handout. The annual report was also included in the August issue of the Rural Missouri, which was mailed to you. Are there any questions or corrections to be made? If not, is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the financial report. All in favor, vote by saying yes. Yes. Any opposed, no. Motion passes. Thank you, guys. At this time, I'd like to call on Doug Tracy to give his CEO President's remarks. Thanks, Doug.
Thank you, Diane. Good afternoon. I think Diane stole half my speech, so I have nothing to say now. So I'm done. Now I'll come up with a couple of things. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for joining us today at the annual meeting. I like to start off with a bunch of thank yous, and I always like to start the thank yous off with thanking the veterans and our first responders. So if there's anybody here in the room that is a veteran or a first responder, please stand for a second, and then we'll honor you and thank you for your service and all that you've done to help our country. So thank you very much for that. Thank you all very much. I attended a funeral this morning of a dear friend who was a veteran and had the full military rights, and that gets you every single time. It just it never gets old. And we just appreciate so much and thank you for the service that you've given us. I'd also like to thank the nominating committee and who is out doing their jobs right now, counting ballots, and it's what makes us a cooperative. They are members just like you all, and they have a really important job to do as far as being our election officials, and just appreciate the time and the effort that they give to the cooperative and the election process. I also want to thank the candidates that are here with us today, and thank you for your time, the interview process and everything that you've put into this, writing your bios, and just being interested in Cuivre River. We just really appreciate that so much. And again, it's just a great part of what makes us a co-op, and so we thank you. I also like to thank the board of directors who's here, of course, today, and for all the leadership that they provide in leading this great co-op. And just thank you so much for your service, for what you do. Diane already did this, and he's going to start getting a big head, but I'm going to go ahead and call out Dan Elliott just one more time. And I thank Dan for being service here the last 10 years on the board of directors, and for what you've meant to the board and the leadership that you've brought to us. We just appreciate all of that, and we wish you well as you go forth and have some fun. Go and enjoy yourself a little bit now, all right? So that's all right. But thank you very much, Dan, for all that you've done for that. Also, I'd like to thank the employees that helped put this together. It seems pretty simple, but it's not as simple as it appears. There's a lot of work behind the scenes that it takes to get this going, so I'd like to thank them as well. And lastly, but certainly not least, I'd like to thank the members who are here in the room with us today for coming, and also like to thank you members that are watching us on YouTube right now. Thank you for joining us and being part of our annual meeting, and we're really thankful to have you here. So, with that, I want to talk a little bit about what's been going on at Cuivre River the past few years, or the past year since we last had our annual meeting. We have officially gone over the 75,000 member mark within the last couple of weeks, so we were able to celebrate that. That puts us, I think most people know we're the largest cooperative in the state of Missouri, but that puts us right now at 52nd largest in the country out of almost 900 cooperatives, so we're continuing to grow. We're going to add about another 1,500 meters this year, and we're grateful for that and thankful. But what a milestone for your cooperative to hit 75,000 and continue to grow. Now, as part of that growth, there's a cost that comes with that. And you're going to hear me talking a lot about what's going on with your rates. And one question you may have is, why are my rates going up? Because they have gone up. We want to be very transparent about that. They've gone up. And I would love to tell you that that's done and they're not going to go up anymore, but that's unfortunately not what I can tell you today. And I'm going to try to explain why some of those pressures are hitting the rates. First of all, infrastructure cost. This is a graph that was put together by our national organization that just shows the cost increases within the last 5 years. So it doesn't matter if it's wire, if it's transformers, if it's poles, if it's fleet and equipment, if it's inventory, whatever it is. Costs have gone up anywhere from about 30 to 60% just within the past 5 years. So we have to continue to pay that because we're growing, and we have to go out and get infrastructure improvements as we continue to meet the needs of our co-op. Along with this growth, we're also working on our $62 million work plan that we devised here about 2 or 3 years ago. That work plan involves a lot of necessary maintenance and upgrades. A lot of the system out there, we have almost 6,000 miles of line, and that takes some maintenance. Some out there are 50 to 60 years old, and so we can't just say, hey, costs are high, we need to let that go. We have to continue to maintain those and upgrade the system as it is needed. Also, our transmission company, Central Electric in Jefferson City, is also doing the same thing and upgrading the transmission system, which some of that is original from the 1950s. In order to keep that reliability where you expect it to be and where we expect it to be, we have to go ahead and maintain that. They have a $400 million work plan that they're utilizing to keep their transmission system upgraded and maintained. And as part of their system, Cuivre River helps to fund that as well. So some pressures along that line. But as far as why are the rates going up, those are some of the reasons why. But I'm going to give you the biggest reason. I talked about this a little bit last year, but it's because our generation company, Associated Electric in Springfield, Missouri, has 2 gas peaker plants that are under construction. And these are needed to keep the capacity because we're short on capacity. Just from a member load perspective, there's a lot of talk right now about data centers and large loads. That is not why these are being built. This is built just to serve member load as the growth continues to happen on Associated system in the 3-state area. This is a picture of Ripley, the new gas peaking plant that is being built currently in Oklahoma. This will be about a 420 to 440 megawatt gas peaker plant that will help meet the needs of our members for the next several years. Here's another shot. You can see there's a lot going on with the construction process on that. This is scheduled to be completed in the 4th quarter of 26. So we're about another year and a half away from this being online, but that's going to go a long way to help with the reliability of not only Cuivre's membership, but Associated's membership as a whole. And then just recently, this is in Turney, Missouri, which is just north of Kansas City. This power plant is just broken ground and construction has started on that, which will be basically identical to the one at Ripley. It'll be another 420, 440 megawatt power plant that will also be put online. This one will probably be around 4th quarter of 27. That'll come online to keep that reliability there and to keep meeting the needs. So I've just shown you 3 pictures. If you've ever wondered what $2 billion looks like, that's those 3 pictures. Between the 2 plants and the transmission that it takes to hook all those plants into the grid, we're looking at about $2 billion that it takes to get those plants. So I showed this slide last year, and it really comes back to this. Why are your rates going up? Because the infrastructure increases are part of it, the work plan's part of it, the transmission system is part of it. The biggest part of it is obviously $2 billion for 2 power plants. But those have to be built. Otherwise, the reliability side of this scale is going to go lopsided. If your lights go off, that's not a good thing. So we have to keep building the capacity to keep up with the demand that you have not only come to expect, but you have to have. We know that you rely on electricity to do many things now, and without adding this additional generation, the reliability that you're used to having is going to become an issue. We are not the only ones that are facing this, not only at Cuivre River, not only the state of Missouri. This is all over the country right now. If you've talked to anybody, if you have relatives in other states, these are just some headlines that I pulled from a quick search. This is happening all over everywhere. The cost is increasing, and really for the reasons that I just said. A lot of utilities are having to build more capacity to meet the demand that is currently out there. So getting a little bit closer to home, MISO, which is the red area that you see here, which we are not a member of MISO, the Regional Transmission Organization, but many around us and many in the state of Missouri are. Their rates this summer have gone up over 2,000% just for this summer. So if misery loves company, that's rough company to be in. But it just shows that this is an issue that is countrywide, trying to keep up with the demand for electricity by having enough capacity to meet that demand. So that's kind of some sobering news, and doesn't make us feel real good. But if there's anything that does make us feel good, is that in Missouri, we're still doing okay. Missouri is still the 5th lowest cost in the United States for electricity. So we could be in much higher situations, much more expensive. But we are still the 5th lowest. And if you can see, as you see from this slide, that the average for the United States is 17.47 cents a kilowatt hour, and in Missouri is 12.97, and in a Cuivre River, we're even under that at 10.3. So you can see how much percentage, almost 26% less than the Missouri average, and then almost 70% lower than the United States, and that's with our recent rate increase that we just implemented in April being a part of that. So we are trying really hard to keep those down. No one likes rate increases, and we don't like having to have them. So we're working very, very hard to try to keep those increases as low as possible. And one of the ways that we're doing that is, here you see where our 2024 expenses were. Almost 4% of our expenses come right from power costs. Our power costs are always right around the 62 to 67, 68% range. So there's a lot of that gets passed on to us. You all get your electric bill. Cuivre River gets an electric bill as well that we have to pay, so we can serve you with your electricity. So 64% of it was for power cost, 11% was the cost to operate and maintain the system, 8% to run the office and take the payments, and then the rest was depreciation and interest. So if we can't control as much of the power cost, what can we control? We can try to control everything else. And we've been very successful and very good at that, and we continue to do that. We're now in the top 5% of co-ops in the country for controllable expenses, being as low as possible. And that's something that we continue to work on, and we will always continue to work on, keeping those costs as low as we can, controlling what we can control, knowing that other costs are going to go up and that it's going to create pressure on rates. So I spent a lot of time kind of talking about the low cost and the rate side of the scale. Let's talk a little bit about the reliability side, because again, we know how important it is that you have reliable electricity. It's even more and more important every day, everything that we rely on to do it. So we're working hard. Our linemen do a fantastic job of keeping the power flowing. And looking at our service availability index, which is the percentage of time that electricity is on our system and available to you. Last year, we were 99.95% of the time, which is pretty good. This year, we upped that to 99.97% of the time. So our reliability numbers are very, very good, very strong, and we continue to work on that because we know how important that is. Now, does that mean you're never, ever going to have a power outage? No. I wish it did mean that. But with 6,000 miles of line, there's going to be things happen. There's going to be cars hit poles. There's going to be storms. There's going to be animals like you wouldn't believe that get into equipment. And so things happen, but our linemen do just an amazing job of getting it restored back as quickly as possible and keeping those numbers high, because we know that reliability is important to you. Another thing we know is important to you is paying back capital credits. That's part of being a cooperative, and you as a member get to participate in the equity of that. And just a few weeks ago, you received checks for your portion that was retired this past year, $7.3 million that was returned back to you, the members. So that's nearly $50 million back to the members just in the last 7 years. We're very robust in how we retire capital credits, one of the most robust programs in the country, and we want to do that as much as possible because that's what makes us a co-op, and that's what makes us stand out in giving that back. And speaking of giving back, 2025 has also been a big milestone for our Operation Roundup program as we crossed over the $8 million mark, and that's coming from pennies that you, the members, have rounded up on your bills and are given back to charities, organizations, and also individuals. So $8 million is a lot of pennies that's added up, and we're very proud to hit that milestone this year. As always, I want to recognize our outstanding employee base. All they do, they are really the nuts and bolts of what makes this co-op go, and what keeps the lights on and keeps service to you. Last year, within the past year, our linemen have not only worked to keep your lights on here on Cuivre System, but they've gone other places to do the same thing. Last fall, Hurricane Helene hit, and this group went down south and helped restore for almost a month the power to those that were impacted by the hurricane, working to serve them. And then just a couple of months ago, right here in our backyard in St. Louis County, if you all remember the storms that came through in the spring and how many people that impacted, this group of linemen went into St. Louis County and helped to restore the power, again, because they know how important that is and how much it is needed. So they take such pride in their work and try to help as many as they can. Our linemen work in all sorts of conditions. This was within the past year. Just because it's snowing out or just because it's cold doesn't mean that we say, you know what, yeah, we're not going to hook up any services today, we'll just take the day off. They're out there working. If you remember here 3 or 4 weeks ago, it's a little hard to think about today because it's so beautiful, but 3 or 4 weeks ago when it was about 100 degrees, linemen don't take a day off of that either. They're out there continuing to do their jobs and working hard, so proud of them. And not only do our employees work hard, but they like to give back and they like to serve the community, which to me is what makes us a cooperative, that giving back. We live here, we work here, our kids go to school here, it's just part of who we are. Within the past year, our employees raised money for, this is from Veterans Coffee Talk here in Troy, a fantastic veterans group that does so much good for so many veterans. Standing out in the cold in February for a Heat Up St. Louis, our employees volunteered both up here at our Troy location in Lake St. Louis to raise money for that. The 4th of July parade here in Troy, and we had a float there. We won first place with that float. The first year we've ever done that, we won first place. I was kind of proud of that. Did a fantastic job and had a great time there. Go to schools to do career days, but then also teach safety. We go all the way from about, I know one employee told me they had a kindergarten class this year. They talked about electricity all the way up through high school. We let the kids try on the gloves. We've got a lineman here that's kind of showing them how the bucket works and different things about it. We raised food, brought in food for local food banks, and just the way that our employees are just always looking for different ways to serve. And it's just, I'm so proud of the way that they do that and find ways to give back. I'm a little bit biased, but I think we get the best team around, and I couldn't be more proud of how they not only work to serve you, but the kind of people they are and the kind of team that we've built here at Cuivre River, and we just truly appreciate them and all they do to serve you, the members. So, in closing, I would like to again thank you all for being members of Cuivre River Electric Cooperative and for participating today. And know that we do have some challenges. There's some rate pressures there, but we are going to get through these. We're going to navigate these. We're going to keep your lights on, have that reliability. We know that scale is what you need most as far as lower rates, keep them as low as possible and keep those lights on. and we just thank you so much for the opportunity to serve you. So on behalf of the management team, the employees, the board of directors, we just thank you for being here today, and thank you for being members of Cuivre River. Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. That was great. That was great. The next item on the agenda is the board president's report. Each year, the CEO presents information from a management and industry perspective. My comments, because I'm a member, are from a member's perspective and hopefully help put certain aspects of cooperative membership into clearer focus. So over the years, we've reviewed the guiding principles of cooperatives, the differences between a cooperative, a municipal, and investor-owned utility, the governance role of the board, the three-tiered system, how we provide reliable power, just to name a few. But today, I'd like to briefly touch on the capital credits that Doug had mentioned in his talk that you received from Cuivre River. As you know, Cuivre River is a not-for-profit utility, and it's owned by us, and it provides electricity to us, its members. To become a member, you complete an application, you pay the membership fee, you agree to purchase your electric energy from Cuivre River, and you agree to be bound by the articles of conversion, bylaws, and rules adopted by the board of directors. Over the years, I've had people ask me, what are capital credit checks, or they are thanking Cuivre for giving them money, but they're not sure why they're receiving it. The checks are part of how cooperatives do business and how member owners participate. Cooperatives are similar in operation to other types of utilities in that the patrons, or in our case, members, by paying our electricity bill, provide the capital that allows the cooperative to operate and distribute power. How cooperatives are different from, say, an investor-owned utility is that as a cooperative member, we all are eligible to receive capital credit checks based on our usage, which is part of the equity of our cooperative. Only stockholders and investor-owned utilities receive dividends. So capital credits are a portion of what is allocated to us as members. The credits are tied to our account each year based on our usage for our percentage of margins being retired, which is in our individual capital credit check. So while I've given a simple explanation for this benefit of membership, it is an involved process. However, as a cooperative, we take very seriously the importance of following our bylaws, which dictate this process. And as a board, we're members too, so we're motivated to do right by our membership while keeping the financial health of our organization strong. Thank you. Next up, we have election results. I'd like to invite Sean back to the podium to report the election results. Let's see. Yeah, I was going to, congratulate them on unfinished business.
Okay. Before I announce the election results, I would just like to thank the candidates for their willingness to participate in the governance of the cooperative. So thank you all to those who were willing to serve. We met in the back and tallied the votes from online, mail-in, and those that were cast here. And the results are as follows. Lincoln County District 2, David Rothweiler received 418 votes, Mike Johnson 480, and Jeff Geisendorfer 919. In Warren County, District 1, Jeff Culbertson received 896 votes, Lisa Key 886 votes. In Pike County, Walt Gregory received 1,139 votes, Lori Smith 594. In St. Charles County District 2, Tyler Mortz received 253 votes, Cammie Henderson received 239 votes, Joe Rapone received 131 votes, Diane Solly received 1,052 votes, Jeffrey Manning received 124 votes, and Kevin Martin received 127 votes. So the nominating committee who judged the election certified that Jeff Geisendorfer, Jeff Culbertson, Walt Gregory, and Diane Solly were elected as directors to hold office for a term of 3 years until Their successors shall have been elected and qualified. Thank you all.
Thank you, Sean. And again, I'd like to thank all who ran for election. We appreciate your willingness to serve and participate in the process. Congratulations to those who have been elected to the Board of Directors. Thank you for your commitment to Cuivre River. Now, looking at the agenda, is there any new or unfinished business to be discussed? If there is no further business to discuss, I'd like to thank each of you for being a part of this year's annual meeting. And I now declare the 2025 annual meeting of Cuivre River Electric Cooperative adjourned. Thank you all for being here.